The boutique betrayal. The soft chime of the boutique's entrance bell welcomed Naomi Blake as she stepped into Vivian's bridal atelier. The air was laced with the fragrance of fresh roses and subtle hints of vanilla, while warm light from elegant crystal chandeliers bathed the pristine, ivory-walled interior. Rows of exquisite wedding gowns lined the walls, each one a symphony of lace, satin, and tulle. It was the kind of space where every bride-to-be dreamed of feeling special, seen, and celebrated. Naomi let herself linger in the ambience, savoring the moment she had imagined since the day she and Julian got engaged. She had chosen this boutique not just for its reputation, but because she had designed her dress in collaboration with her stylist. It was meant to be magical, a symbol of love, of dreams realized. But the fairy tale quickly began to unravel. At the front counter sat a young woman with platinum blonde hair pulled back in a flawless bun, her manicured nails tapping absently on her phone screen. Her name tag read Chloe Davis. She barely looked up as Naomi approached. "Hi, I'm here to pick up my dress. It's a custom order under the name Naomi Blake," Naomi said, her tone polite but firm. Chloe let out an exasperated sigh, clearly annoyed by the interruption. She turned to the computer, her keystrokes sharp and loud. "It's here," Chloe said flatly. "You'll need to complete your payment first. Then you're free to take it." Naomi blinked. That wasn't how it had worked when she ordered it. "I'd like to try it on first, please, just to make sure everything fits the way it should." Chloe looked up, her expression slightly amused. "We don't allow try-ons before final payment. Store policy." Naomi frowned. "That was never mentioned when I placed the order." Chloe shrugged, her lips curling into a barely there smile. "It's always been policy. We can't risk damage to the dresses. I'm sure you understand." Naomi inhaled deeply, biting back frustration. The implication was clear, even if not stated. She was being treated as a risk, a liability. Her eyes scanned the room, and then she saw it. A tall, willowy white woman twirling in front of a triple mirror, radiant in a silk gown. Another woman, possibly her mother, snapped photos gleefully. Naomi turned back to Chloe. "And her? She's trying one on right now." Chloe didn't glance over. "That's Emily Langston. She's a VIP client." Naomi chuckled bitterly. "VIP means white, doesn't it?" Chloe's smile faltered. "If you're unhappy, you're welcome to shop elsewhere." There it was. The subtext made explicit. "You don't belong here." Naomi squared her shoulders. "I'm not leaving. I paid a deposit. I deserve the same courtesy." Chloe's voice hardened. "You don't have rights here unless you pay in full. That's how it works." Naomi's jaw tensed. "Then let me speak with the manager." With a theatrical sigh, Chloe headed toward the back. Moments later, a tall woman with piercing gray eyes and a tailored dress emerged. Camilla Thornton, the manager. She didn't smile. "I'm told there's an issue," Naomi explained, keeping her tone level. Camilla didn't blink. "Yes, that's our policy. Payment before trying on." Naomi gestured to Emily. "But Emily is a longtime client. She has privileges. And what do I need to do to get those? Change my skin tone." Camilla's face remained neutral, but a shadow passed over it. "Be careful," she said softly. "You're sounding hostile." Naomi's laugh was cold. "You haven't seen hostile yet." Camilla flipped open a leather notebook. "One more thing. Your dress is no longer $3,500. That promotion expired. New total is $5,000. Naomi's breath caught. "You're joking." "I'm not." Naomi stepped back, voice trembling with rage. "That's fraud." Camilla tilted her head. "Call it what you want. That's the price." Naomi's hands balled into fists. "Then I want to try it on." Camilla smiled thinly. "Fine. We'll have one of our assistants try it on for you." Naomi's eyes widened. "Excuse me?" "Someone a similar build. It's safer. Because I might damage it." Chloe smirked. "We've had issues before." Naomi seethed. "You mean customers like me?" "I didn't say that," Chloe replied. "You didn't have to." Camilla raised a hand. "Enough. Leave the store, or we call security." Naomi refused. You're not kicking me out. Yes, we are. A security guard approached. Naomi, chest heaving, backed away slowly. You'll regret this. Outside, the cool air hit her skin like ice. Her chest burned with humiliation and fury. Then she heard his voice. Naomi. Julian approached, tall, confident, and furious. She told him everything. The dress. The price hike. The racism. Julian didn't speak. He simply turned and walked inside. Within moments, the entire mood inside changed. Staff froze. Camilla paled. Mr. Walker, she stammered. You didn't know who she was, Julian said, his voice low. But you're about to. He stepped closer. She's my fiancée, and I own this store. Gasps. Silence. Julian continued, voice cold. You embarrassed her. Tried to scam her. Treated her like garbage. In my store. Camilla faltered. Sir, please. You're fired, he said. Both of you. Camilla's knees buckled. Chloe's face went ghost white. Naomi stepped inside again. Julian took her hand. Come on, he whispered. Let's get your dress. And this time, Naomi walked toward the fitting room with her head high, exactly as she should have from the start. Part 2. Justice Wears White. The soft rustle of fabric echoed through the boutique as Naomi stood in front of the mirror, finally draped in her wedding gown. The delicate lace hugged her figure just as she envisioned, the train cascading like a waterfall behind her. But instead of tears of joy, her eyes burned with a quiet, steady fury. Julian stood nearby, arms crossed, his expression unreadable. The remaining boutique staff avoided eye contact, scrambling in the background, uncertain whether to assist or retreat. A storm had passed, but the clouds hadn't fully cleared. It's perfect, Naomi whispered. But her voice wasn't filled with awe. It carried something deeper. Purpose. Now let's make sure no one else has to go through this. The next morning, Naomi and Julian sat at the breakfast table, steaming mugs of coffee in front of them. Julian scrolled through his tablet, the news already abuzz. Black bride-to-be humiliated in boutique owned by fiancé. Staff fired immediately. CEO exposes discrimination in his own company. The headline spread fast. Julian looked up. It's gone viral. Naomi arched a brow. Good. Let them all see what happens when people stay silent for too long. They had spent the evening drafting a detailed public statement, recounting the events not with anger, but clarity. Facts, dates, names, the emotional toll. Julian's PR team had released it that morning, but what came next exceeded anything they expected. Celebrities, influencers, and everyday people flooded social media. Hashtag Justice for Naomi was trending. Brides from all walks of life began sharing their own stories of discrimination in high-end bridal boutiques. Women of color, plus-sized women, LGBTQ plus brides. The floodgates had opened. 3 days later, Naomi stood at the center of a press conference. A sleek podium stood before her, with reporters filling the space in front of Vivian's bridal atelier. Julian stood just behind her, offering silent support. Naomi adjusted the microphone. Her voice was calm, steady. I walked into this store expecting joy. Instead, I got suspicion, disrespect, and exclusion. But today, this isn't just about me. It's about every bride who's ever been made to feel like she wasn't good enough, pretty enough, rich enough, white enough. Flashes from cameras lit the space. This boutique, like many others, has operated under the illusion of exclusivity. But what it's really offered is exclusion. That ends now. She stepped aside. Julian took the mic. Effective immediately, he said, Vivian's Bridal Atelier is launching an internal audit across all our stores nationwide. We're reviewing hiring practices, staff training, and our definition of VIP service. He paused. Naomi will co-chair the Diversity VA Inclusion Board. A gasp of surprise followed. Then applause. That evening, Naomi received a message. It was from Janelle Summers, a former bridal boutique employee who had seen the story online. Her words were short but powerful. Thank you. You said what so many of us have wanted to scream. If you need help fighting this from the inside, I'm in. Naomi stared at the message, then smiled. Weeks passed. With Naomi's leadership, the boutique underwent a transformation. Staff underwent mandatory inclusivity training. A bride's bill of rights was printed and framed in every dressing room. No bride would ever be denied the chance to try on her dress again. Julian and Naomi were invited to speak at conferences, share their story in interviews, and consult with other bridal businesses. Their movement had sparked something bigger. Justice, it turned out, looked incredible in white.